I, Kritika Bora, student teacher of Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida, B.Ed batch 2019-21, going to present on course code BED 218, course title Creating an Inclusive School. My topic is Historical Development of Inclusive Education in Indian Scenario Pre-Independence. Inclusive education, learning knows no bounds. Now, coming to the meaning of inclusive education. Inclusive education means that all students attend and are welcomed by their neighborhood schools in age-appropriate regular classes and are supported to learn, contribute and participate in all aspects of life of the school. Inclusive education is about how we develop and design our school, classroom, program and activities so that all students learn and participate together. Inclusive education is about ensuring access to quality education for all students by effectively meeting their diverse needs in a way that is responsive, accepting, respectful and supportive. Students participate in the education program in a common learning environment with support to diminish and remove barriers and obstacles that may lead to exclusion. Now, definition of inclusion. Inclusion was defined by Steinbeck and Steinbeck 1990 as education of all students in regular classes, appropriate educational program for every student, everyone is accepted and supported. So, inclusive education is carried out in a common learning environment, that is an educational setting where students from different backgrounds and with different abilities learn together in an inclusive environment. Common learning environments are used for the majority of the students. Regular instruction are and may include classroom, libraries, gym, performance theatre, music room, cafeterias, playground and the local community. A common learning environment is not a place where students with intellectual disability or other special needs learn in isolation from their peers. Now, let's see the historical perspective of inclusive education in India before independence. India has a very glorious past with respect to the treatment and educational opportunities provided for its disabled population. In Vedic era, we have glaring example of Ashtavakra, a chronic and severe case of orthopedic impairment, for becoming a great scholar by virtue of educational facilities available to all irrespective of their abilities and disabilities. The great rishis as gurus were known to provide equal treatment to their pupils irrespective of their social status and exceptional or non-exceptional abilities. They were of the firm believer in the theory of karma. Therefore, they were of the opinion to give ample opportunities to the disabled, poor and sufferers to learn the art of self-actualization and doing good in the life for getting better results held in the next cycle of life. In doing so with them, they also believed that in turn they might earn good karma for themselves. However, the spirit of liberalism prevailed in the ancient ashrams, quietly vanished in the later period of Indian history, and it was almost replaced by the practice adopted all over the world in the treatment of education of the disabled population. Consequently, the treatment, care and education of the disabled children in India also passed through the phases of era of exclusion, extermination and abduction, ridicule and amusement, witchcraft, sympathy and asylum. There are the instances of the disabled being harassed, ridiculed and made a subject of amusement and entertainment. Practice of treating Any deviation from the normality as a sign of shadow or mark of an evil spirit was quite prevalent in the later periods of ancient Indian history. Mental illness, retardedness, was taken as some evil spirit entered in the body of the affected person and consequently was treated by the coercive method of torturing in the name of making the evil spirit leave the body of the affected person. Witchcraft was also quite in vogue in almost all the rural and tribal belts of India. The disabled and poor people were treated as subjects of sympathy, pity, and asylum. In advocating human treatment to the disabled, Lord Buddha and Mahavira, propagators of the doctrine of Buddha and Jain religion, played a major role. The rulers like Ashoka the Great and the Harshvardhana, who followed the preaching, were earned much fame in establishing hospitals and asylum for the disabled and destitute. Maratha rulers and Peshwa like Shivaji and Ahilyabai were also well known for the charitable act of to the disabled and poor. However, what was available during this period was nothing more than the act of caring and the protection of the disabled as a matter of pity, sympathy, and noble deeds on some noble person. There is no evidence of any type of special provision for the disabled children during these eras of Indian history prior to the establishment of British rule in the country. As a matter of record, the pattern of special school education followed at present in our country owes its origin to the work done by the Christian missionaries and other charitable organizations of the country. These following establishments may be mentioned especially for this purpose. Number 1. The first school meant for the special education of the deaf was established in Bombay 1883. Second, the first school for the blind was started at Amritsar in 1887. Third, the first school for blind and deaf was started at Mysore in 1901. Fourth, the first government school, the Emerson Institute for the Blind, was started at Lahore in 1906. Fifth, although the facilities in the form of psychomedical treatment were available at Ranchi from 1934, yet the first home for the mentally retarded came up at Bombay in 1941. Now at last there is conclusion. In this way there were quite a sporadic and scattered effort in the direction of education for the disabled children. In real sense, however, under the colonial rule, India had a very marginal and insignificant provisions for the education of its children, including the disabled. When the India got independence in 1947, we had only 34 institutions for the deaf, 32 for the blind, and 3 for the mentally retarded. At last, I would like to conclude with this quote: if they can't learn the way we teach the way they learn. Thank you for listening actively.